It blows my mind that more people aren't talking about this. It should be a huge scandal. The most common abortion method is the at-home chemical abortion pill. At home meaning it can be ordered online without a doctor and thus without knowing key details about the pregnancy like how far along the baby is, risks, and more, and it's sent directly to a woman's doorstep. Unsurprisingly, this is not safe and is putting women at serious risk. But women are not being told that. They're being lied to. Recent studies by both the Restoration of America Foundation and the Ethics and Public Policy Center show that the abortion pill is 22 times more dangerous for women than the FDA admits and lists on the label. Nearly 11%, more than 1 in 10 women who ingest the drug, will experience a serious side effect ranging from sepsis to death. Welcome to Restoring America with Grace Reilly. Today I have a very special guest who does incredible work to save our country and has spent his life doing so, starting with his service in the military at West Point, 6 years of active duty in the United States Army until leaving honorably as a captain, to now where he is the founder and volunteer CEO of Restoration of America and the Restoration of America Foundation, Doug Truax. It is so great to have you on.
Thanks for having me on, Grace. It's really great to see you.
It's so great to have you, Doug, and it's so great to work for your incredible organization. It really is an honor to be able to do work that matters every day and actually can chip into the problems that our country is facing. And of course, this issue of abortion is no exception to that. It's one of the most important things that we're focused on here. I want to start by asking you a little bit of background. The abortion pill didn't used to be so accessible. How did we get to a place where women could just go online and order this pill without a doctor?
Yeah, I think that the Biden administration, they got very sneaky. They realized what was going to happen. You know, they saw that that Roe was going to go. You know, the Dobbs was going to come in. It wasn't good law, so they said, well, how are we going to make sure that we keep abortion up in this country? And so with mifepristone, the chemical abortion drug, it was always, you think about the nature of that drug, and it's not just, hey, I'm going to go to the pharmacy and get this, or I'm going to call somebody and they're going to send it to me. It's a very serious thing, and so we have to say to ourselves, why would we get to a place where we're letting just telehealth people send this out? And so what happened was they just basically said, let's make sure that no matter what, we can get this stuff out in the mail. And so there used to be safety standards on it that you had to go see a doctor. Because like you mentioned, especially if you have an ectopic pregnancy and you go to take this drug, it could kill you. So, square one right there. So what they did is they said, let's just make sure that everybody can get it in the mail. And if Roe goes out, then we'll just have a strategy for making sure that we get it into the states that ban abortion going forward. And that's what's happened. And it was kind of, it was pretty sneaky the way they did it. And they kind of did a workaround inside the FDA and said, oh, we used to think it was dangerous. It's not now. We got into an area, a lot of junk science and studies and stuff like that. And those guys used that in the FDA, Biden's FDA, to say, no, it's fine. And so then when we did the report, us and EPPC, working at the same time, not knowing it, but we were working on the same, looking at the same set of data too. And we said, gosh, look at these, we had gynecologists looking at it and saying, this is really as dangerous as we all thought. Because that's where it was. It was like, wait a minute, they're saying, oh, it's no big deal. And we're going, no, that sounds really dangerous. And so,
if it's taking the life of a child,
right,
of course
the
it's
nature of
it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you have a person inside of you. It's going to kill that person, but you're going to be fine. That doesn't sound, that's not logical, right? And so they got it, they got it out into the mail. And so now we've just gone to a place now where just like this telehealth industry around it, there's just like a ton of these telehealth places that are actively, just taking calls and putting it in the mail, and the country is just awash now in mifepristone. And because we don't have the doctor standards too, we have all these situations now where boyfriends are ordering it and slipping it into drinks and stuff like that. Fraternities are stockpiling. I mean, it's just terrible. It's just horrible. And so, but this all goes back to the Biden administration saying, you know what, we got to make sure that we have as much abortion as possible, and it's just a ghoulish thing to even contemplate that they would say that. But now you have basically these rabid abortionists in Massachusetts and California, and they're basically facilitating abortions in Texas and Alabama and every place you can't have an abortion. So that's what's going on. It's terrible.
So what do the levels of abortion look like now with this pill? Because obviously Dobbs happened, and I think a lot of pro-life people thought, well, this is such a big win, and it was, and assumed that now the problem's not fixed, but been helped a lot. But it seems like with this abortion pill, there's an entirely new thing we're facing. So what do those numbers look like now, and what does the Trump administration need to do?
Well, that's the story that I think is going to be coming out this year, is that just like what you said, we were all happy that Roe was gone. And I think that there was a moment where everybody's like, hey, we're making great progress. I mean, I felt it too. Everybody's happy about that. You know, it's like, wow, look what happened. But this was going on behind the scenes. And so we're actually going to go from basically on Trump's second term here, we're going to go from about 800,000 abortions a year to 1.4 million on the trend line that we're on right now. And so
that's serious.
Yeah, well, it comes down to, I think a lot of people, when they first hear about chemical abortion, there's a confusion in their mind about, well, there's Plan B and all these other things. You know, it's just like, no, this is the baby. They have the abortion in their bathroom, and then, you know, these are dead babies in toilets and stuff like that. It's just horrific stuff. So it's this whole world that people don't want to talk about and don't want to think about, and so that's kind of what happened too. It's like the optimism of, hey, we got Roe gone, so let's just move forward. And I think that, you know, I think that President Trump, you know, credit to him, we got Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Coney Barrett, you know, and that's what got us to the place. But now there's like this unwillingness to discuss where we're at currently, and our case that we've been making to out in Capitol Hill, a lot of our allies and some people who are on the fence, and then also the administration, is this is a brewing political problem. So just, we can talk about the morality of it all day. You know, it's heartbreaking. But politically, what's about to happen is, as we head into the spring and the summer, the pro-life community is going to go, what? The number's going up by how much? And we have the opportunity to fix it? Because he could have done an executive order. He did like 92 executive orders on day one. He could have 93 and said, no, we're not doing this anymore, you know, because the standards, the standards for getting mifepristone were in place during Obama, Clinton, Trump won. And so Biden came and changed it. So we changed it back.
That's really fascinating that with Obama and Clinton, there were these standards where you couldn't just order online an abortion pill without even seeing a doctor, making sure that you were even I'll say, quote unquote, good candidate for it, just with the stage of pregnancy. So yeah, what you're saying is so huge that with Biden, he changed that. So it should be an easy thing to change back for Trump, I would think, because it's something that was in place long before. It's not a radical new thing. It's something that's pretty obvious and people agree on, and numbers show that even people who consider themselves to be pro-abortion support the idea that a doctor should be able to be involved in the process at the very least. So do you think why do you think it's not getting more attention from the pro-life community? Is it that they don't know much yet? And then as far as the Trump administration and Republicans in Congress, what do you think the gap is there? Because this seems like such a big thing that we should all be easily focused in on and fixing as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's right. So the gap is, it's just knowledge. You know, I've been in the pro-life piece for a long time. I'm on a board of a place in Chicago, and when our CEO there started talking about it years ago, I was like, so talk me through that again. How's this? It seems like there's a lot of activity on this. And he's like, yeah, it's really going up. And then Biden came in and let it out. And so I think it's more just, it's just a new phase of the fight, and the pro-life community's largely unaware of it. And as they get more aware of it, they're going to get upset that, you know, we're in charge. We should be doing something about this, right? And you know, we did for a long time too, starting with the papers last year, our study on the claims information, it really was the off-ramp too of just let's begin with women's health. Like when your intro, people are getting hurt.
Yeah.
So let's just go there. And just because the moderates that, aren't pro-life like us, or they're like, yeah, that's not good either, right? So it's not an 80-20 issue, but it's close in terms of just like, this is harming women and we shouldn't just let it go out in the mail. They got to go see a doctor. I think probably, I don't know for sure, but I think the administration views it as, well, we don't want to talk about taking away access. Because when there was a defunding of Planned Parenthood, which another thing was great, Roe was gone, let's defund Planned Parenthood, fantastic. That was more, I think, from the administration's point of view, well, you can still go get an abortion, you just have to pay for it yourself. Mm-hmm. We're not going to have taxpayers, American taxpayers. Yeah, right. We don't want pro-lifers using their tax money to pay for abortions. Great. This, though, I think is viewed inside the administration, again, I don't know, I think as, well, we're going to take access away, which would then hurt them politically. And our argument is, whatever damage you think you would suffer politically from going there, you're about to suffer a lot more. It's a non-presidential year. I mean, it's a midterm. And you need every bit of that pro-life base to show up. And if through the spring and the summer, they're like, what is going on? I thought we should be doing much better than this. It hurts enthusiasm, which then is going to hurt us in the election. So the administration is actually, in my opinion, not thinking about it correctly. And I think they need to get straight on that.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. And of course, when looking at politics, we're doing this for a reason because of the why. And of course, at the core, this is an issue that shouldn't be even about politics. It's right and wrong, good and evil. I wonder if you could share a bit about why you care so much about the pro-life movement and saving the lives of babies, and why you've made that a core pillar of your company.
Well, it goes back a number of years when I was, even before I got heavy into politics, it was more just what kind of work could you do for the community? You just get to this point where, I'm a business owner and stuff, so people were like, hey, you should have gone on this board and get on that board. And okay, and I was doing different things. It's fine. There was a lot of good causes, but then one day my pastor was like, you should get on the board at Caring Network over there because, they're saving lives. And I just started keep thinking about it more and praying about it more. And, we know that the God of the Bible, the God of the universe, knit us all together in our mother's wombs, and He did it. Mm-hmm. At conception, that's a separate set of DNA. It's the same set of DNA when they're having kids when they're in their 20s. And so if you don't save that life, the rest of it, tax policy, immigration, Venezuela, I care about it all, but it doesn't, if you don't get, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, life, right? And if you don't get that done, then what are we talking about? And so that was always the starting point. And then over time, I did, I don't know who God is, but I know enough about Him to know that if you're going to keep killing a bunch of kids every year, your country's not going to succeed for that long. And I think there's something going on. I think it's tied to just how our economy's set up and our debt and everything else. I think, the wrath of God comes, and you don't want to be in a situation where you just said, oh yeah, we knew we were killing like 1 million kids a year, but we're just, we're just letting it happen. So, when I put all that together, I said, let's just make sure we do everything we can here to end abortion. We should just not have abortion in this country. Yeah. We could just not have it. And I know God would smile on that. And so, we're doing our part, slugging it out. And I think that this whole piece that we've been talking about is if we can get to a place of just helping the pro-life community know what's going on, and then helping them help the politicians and the administration to say, yeah, we should do something pretty quick about this. That'd be a big win. So that's what we're working on.
I think it's wonderful, and that is so well said, and that's why I'm so grateful to work for this company, really, because that is the most important thing, and it's at the core of everything. Before we leave, will you just leave everyone with any encouragement or advice about what they can do in whatever capacity they're at to influence change in this way, to be tuned into all of the work that you're doing?
Great. And you're doing a great job too. So thank you.
You.
Yeah, I would say in every state, there is a great pro-life organization, and they're very active. And you'll be watching, and you may already be a part of it. Make sure they understand this concept that the number's going up, and we got to do something about it. And then if you're not a part of that organization, find out who it is, go to them and say, we need to call our reps, our senators, the White House, and tell them we are not okay with this situation. So when they get enough calls or they get enough emails, they'll pay attention. It's more than just us, doing our thing, which is great, but we have to have everybody in the country that cares, like what we do, like the way we do about this, to start registering their opinion. And basically, if it is true what I'm saying, that if you're a midterm voter and you make sure your family votes in midterms and all that stuff, and then you're hearing this and you're thinking, I'm not as enthused as I once was, you should say that to the White House. You should say that to your rep and your senator and let them know that, this is not going to go well. And so that's the main thing, that people can do. And then, support our work and, all the stuff, spread it around, all that. So.
Awesome. Well, so great. Doug, thank you so much for being here. Doug Truax, everyone. You've got to stay tuned into all of this because it really is amazing work that's actually making a dent on this issue. It's not talk, it's action. And it's really, again, an honor to work here. And it's work that everyone should be spreading. All of this information is so important to spread because it's huge and so many people don't know about it. So Doug Truax, thank you so much for joining me.
Awesome. Thanks, Grace.
Thank you so much for joining us on Restoring America. Be sure to subscribe, like, and leave us 5 stars to help support the show and so that you can keep up to date on each episode. You can find us on all social media platforms at the handles listed on the screen. This show is powered by the amazing Restoration of America. Be sure to go to restorationofamerica.com for much more, and I will see you next time.